Rish Chof. He has the question: how is the possible should be riba with chalkus, division and multitude in the chalkus of the chayes of Shem Havaya? It's achdas and pshitas. What is the answer to Shem Elikim? And he said Shem Elikim, there are two levels. Shem Elikim is minim master. Then it's also the chalkus. So that's what it says here in Shom Ascheles. Yuchalias is Chalkus, in the middle of the page. Rashay Salmos were based in Yonim. The fact that Shem Havaya is hidden, concealed, has two aspects to it. Alafai Salmos, the Pnis Hatz, the Shem Havaya Shadei Slapshus. Number one is the concealment. The day she Yuchalias is Slapshus, the Shem Lakim Tzechlis Mekaydim, Elam Gats and Shem Havaya. In order for the Shem Lakim, and for the Shem Havaya should be able to be concealed, they slabs inside, not concealed. In order for the Shem Havaya to be able to be invested and clothed in the Shem Elikim should affect Shem Havaya. So the Shem Havaya itself has to be hidden. So that is a mashal. Person has to put his intellectual insight into words. The seichel itself, when he feels when he has he has the spark of the clarity of the seichel. At that point, the seichel is very strongly experienced in his mind. That experience, if he stays into that mode, he can never put it into words because he's overwhelmed by the strength of the seichel. Not that the seichel should be lowered into words. Only after he diminishes and tames that excitement and that connection to the seichel in a way that it's more concealed, everything can be put into words. Another mashal, another mashal, first he said the words b'chlan. Also, when you want to communicate the idea, when the teacher wants to communicate the idea in its own mind to the student, so it's almost the closer he has to hide, conceal that general bright experience of the seichel. Because when the full power of the seichel shines in his mind, so that part of it that the student can handle is not separated, it's not recognizable. Only when he conceals that full force brightness of the idea, and he then when he conceals it and he makes it weaker, then it can feel that part of the seichel that the student can relate to. And then you can teach it. Now he says even before teaching. Similarly, for the seichel to be able to be expressed to words limit the seichel. Only when the seichel is hidden and concealed, its full power, then can you reach the lower state, putting the seichel into words. That's why we see the ultimate depth, the inner meaning the inner statement of the seichel cannot really be expressed in words. You could put it through the words, but when he puts it into words, the real depth is not recognizable there. It's possible for people who work through a lot of effort, you can decipher from the words what the meaning of the seichel. But in the words themselves, we don't. The seichel is not nikra. So whatever is expressed in the words is only an external part. It's no expression of the seichel, but the depth is really concealed. In a person in such a state that his mind is worked very strongly and he's coming up with new innovations, new ways and analysis. And in that mode, cannot even talk because the talk interferes. It says in the Sfarim, but the Arizal שצריך למצוא דק איך להשפיע על התלמידים. משפיע to put in a lot of effort and hard work to find this narrow pipe, it's much obviously, this narrow mode of expression, so this student should be able to understand. Why did it need such a lot of effort? Because the Ariel's mind was in such a constant flow of deep and new ideas, so that so they couldn't bring that on its own. The words cannot express it. The Talmidim cannot handle it. So you have to work very hard. So all this is a very elaborate mashal on this concept how this seichel, in order for the Isis Hadid to have an effect on it, what he started saying, that there should be division and parts. Oh, this requires a tremendous effort and tzimtzum and helm within the Eirasech. Nimtza, so that's we summarize it. Nimtza שכדי שיוכל להסתבש באיsis צריך לסער מפנים מסועצם סוער. So in order to reach that stage of Islapshas Ba'isi, that the Eirasech should reach within words, there has to be a concealment of the essence, of the essential Sefer. Moiken Lamailo, so the same thing I said in Nimshul. Talking over here about Havai and Elikim, that with they share Islapshas Hashem Havai Hashem Elikim, so this is almost Atzim to Hashem Havai, there's a dap Yechol Islapshas Hashem Elikim. That, remember, I started saying Beis in Yon, there are really two parts. The oldest is the first part. The first part is in order for Shem Havai to lower itself, to reach that stage of Shem Elikim as an effect on them, Shem Havai itself has to conceal, has to be hidden. Only then is the Shem Elikim come into play. A base, then there's a second. That's step one. Then there's a second step. That the actual Shem Elikim conceals. First, there's the concealment of Shem Havai, and others should reach Shem Elikim, and then Shem Elikim also conceals. So here we also have the marshal of the Seichel and Dibur. They slap the Seichel ba'Isis, Ozal Avush, the Isis, Minim Alapnimis, the Chitzenius Gamken, Veinim is Galak, Chitzeni, Gilvat, Sharaknis, Aora, the Aora Lovat. You already mentioned earlier that Shem Havai itself is also the whole beginning of the discussion was Shem Shemoged Havai compared the Eir in Sof, the Eir of Shem Havai to Eir means Ha'or, but this Ha'or itself has to be concealed, like we just said, step one, and then that concealment then reaches Shem, that's Chitzenius, and that reaches Shem Elikim. Shem Elikim actually puts it into his chalkus, which is like an Isis. Again, the marshal is Isis Hadibur. That Isis Hadibur we have first the seichel has to lower itself to be in a stage of being able to express in words, and then when the actual expression of words happens, the words themselves conceal, hide. He says also Lamaila, there are two parts. Shalavad, that's my Shatzaris Lapshat is Samus Hatzmi, one node for the Shema Vaish, Mislavish, and the Elam is Mitvitz, Almus Hatzmi, Lavad says, I'll vote Shemalikim, Goof of Ma'alim al Shema Vaish. Shema Vaya has to be concealed, and then the Shemalikim adds another layer to the Elam. So that's also Malumas in the pasuk Shemesh Mogen Avayelikim. The Mogen is Elikim. Mogen means the shield. Shemelikim Manim Masal Shem Avay. So again, Shetzachis Mitchilo repeat. Isam is the Pnimis Haz Shem Avay. And after that, the Ine Vaisam is Hashem Elikim Gufa Malim Al Malim Al Ha'oil Shem Avay. So what do we? So what do we after this point? There are two stages. There's the Shem. There's the Shem Havaya itself. There's also how then the Shem Havaya is the Mimis Aleph, and then the Shem Havaya is established in Shem Elikim. So these are all these stages the Chayes Elikim goes through in order to should be a Schalkas Achayes in our world. So in our world, in the Nivoim, each Nivo gets a separate level of Chayes. It's Schalkas and Nivo. Then there's a concept called as the ultimate goal is Ichad Avayvelikim. Avayvelikim should not be two different modes of expression of the Elikus, but should be Ichad. They should be united. So there's a higher level. Till now we discussed the way it is that the Shem Elikim, first of all, the Havaya is the law itself, and then the Shem Elikim conceals it. But when the Ichot Shem Elikim and Havaya Elikim are united, means the Havaya, the Madriga of Havaya shines in this world with the Elikim not interfering. What's meant this? See, it's going to talk about it too. We already mentioned the first time we read it that now in the Psukim it says Fakir, but it's interesting. So two stages. There's the Datim K'niyavai and the V'yisel Lechem. Shu B'chinas Gil Shem Havai K'may Shu. V'yis Havai will be Elikim. What's meant this? Shu Gil Shem Havai K'may Shu. V'lavod Shem Elikim Ein Amani Master Shem Havai. The Shem Elikim doesn't conceal Shem Havai. Omikom at the same time, V'yisel Lechem Shagil Guval the Shem Elikim. There is Elikim is playing a role, but doesn't hide, doesn't conceal. Elikim is also part of the equation, part of the process of the revelation of godliness, but it doesn't have the aspect of concealment. Shlomo, so you explain what is it? I know. Not a shlomo. So Shlomo was meant to shy. Elikim, I can press getting that seals. So it brings in a new aspect here to explain. There's a concept. Till now, we spoke about Elikim as the power of Tzimtzum, the power of Ischalkos, the power of Helem. It's also obviously one of it's obviously all the comes from Lamaila. But what is its mission? What is its function? Conceal. It says no. There's another concept of Elikim, which is the same thing we always talk about. Kedim Datzilus. Kedim Datzilus. Their function is to limit and to define, but not in a way of concealment. Which is it's a shtickle paradox. He says, he goes into a new discussion what explain what Kenim means, so that we understand that when the Ichad Elikim, so the Elikim is doesn't have that negative thing of hell. How does it work? So it brings in what it says in other places that Havaya Elikim is also a remez of the Madrigas of Eretz and Kedim. Which kelim? Obviously, we're talking about kelim of Atzilus. Kelim of Atzilus, their function, they do not conceal, they do not hide the godly. Like the famous, especially Medrash, Kamsa, like I said, Kamsa is a sort of type of grasshopper.
Cherepacha.
No, Cherepacha means a turtle. So that's for some reason, we always talk, Cherepacha is a Russian for turtle. The turtle also, look at the turtle, its shell is part of its body. That's why usually.
But that's not Hadun Kamsa.
But the word kamsa means it's a type of grasshopper. And I know almost every insect is like that. Its cover and its body is part. It's not two separate. Some reason, it's not like I said. It's not a medrash. You can say that about almost every living thing. Its cover and its body are part of the same. Okay, you can say human skin, but I think the skin is. That's why I bring a eye from like I said, Cherepacha from a gazelle, because in a turtle, the cover, the shell looks like something totally different. But the real truth is it's in the nail base, part of the body. Some I don't know. Some reason, like I said, the Medrash started this already. I don't know why the Medrash decided to bring a eye, because they wanted to show the opposites. That when you look at it, it feels like a hard cover and shield, but it's really part of the body itself. Okay, it's like one of these very gashmis that come surely, but it's only an illustration of a concept, which means the concealment is part of the body. It's not an outside, not that something on the outside conceals you, but it's part of you. So if it's part of the you, means part of the living thing itself. So, on one way it's concealed, but the concealment is not really because it's the thing itself, which means that is going back to the name of the kelim of Atzilus that do not hide. They do not hide godliness. They do limit. Let's talk about it. The kelim do something to the earth. The earth are infinite, above definition, above image, above anything. The kelim make the keli a chesed. Chesed is already a definition. It's something tangible. It's called. It's chesed. But at the same time, it does not conceal any. When you look at the chesed of Atzilus, don't see some chesed, some objective concept called chesed. It's chesed. The Eibush is chesed. Doesn't conceal that the Eibush is expressed to the chesed. That's the key point. Hashem Zeh brings in another concept in Nikoim Shem spheres. That's one of the reasons why it says in Paradise. What the few reasons why the 10 powers that rule the world are called spheres. There's a few meanings to the word sphere. That one of them is lashon spheres of behirs. Spheres means brightness. They shine and they're bright, like this Evan sapphire, the shining bright stone, precious stone. So sphere is lashon beir. What means beir? When you say something is bright, means she'ein b'chnes lavu shamayim v'master. When it's bright, it means it doesn't block the light, it doesn't conceal. The light shines through it. Not when you say oil means nothing, the light shines through the sphere. Okay, so that's one. So like he moves from point to point to strengthen the first point. First point was that Elikim is not an outside force for sure. Not just not outside. It's not something that has a negative effect. It's part of the process of Gilui. So we find this thing in Kelim Datil. Kelim Datil is like Kelim, but at the same time, the whole process is Gilui. So it brings in another like term to describe this concept. It says The spheres of Atzilus are called tselem. Like, what do we say? What's the proper way to translate tselem? Or shape maybe. Shape. What's meant? The inexi, but tselem the kimba is. Pasuk says that says a lot of places. And also the famous pasuk, "Sheif Adam Adam Ba'adam Shaf Ba'adam Dek Shafa Kibetzalim Lakim Asasad." That the human being, the neshama, is created betzalim, the same shape kaviyachol as the Eish. Let's see what it means. So that, I think when we looked up, we couldn't, I don't know, unless I'm missing something, I couldn't find a pasuk that uses the word tmus when again in that context. It says when again when the other Mauritian, Vayol the tmus like it's but in the pasuk itself, when it's described B'riyas Adam, always says betzalim. But the tmus is a lashon from Chazal. It's in Igdal, ain't like Dmus. And it says in other places, Adam, it says also in Chazal, Adam Niva Betzelem with Dmus. There's Tzelem and Dmus. There are two ways to describe when something is created in the image of something else. Tzelem and Dmus. What is the chiluk? He says, Yesh Efesh ben Tzelem and Dmus. These two expressions, Tzelem and Dmus, really represent two ways of expressing the shape of something. Tselem represents the Gilui Atzmi, that one person's B'Tselem of the other means he expresses the essence of the other one. But in our case, that Neshama is a Tselem Elikim means the essence of course is there. The Mus means just an image. It's not the full thing, it's just an image. Like I mentioned the first time we learned a while ago, years ago, in the Emshech Rosh Hashanah in Beis, there was a lot of issues about the Tzelem and Mus, and I think if I understood correctly there, it's the difference between a three-dimensional sculpture and a two-dimensional, which means a drawing or picture. So in the three-dimensional, the full again, it's a marshal, but it's a gushing like a marshal to give us better understanding of the concept. But you have to remember, it's the concept that we're talking about, not what is the marshal? There's Tzora Atzmis and Dmus Varabarat. So the two ways of expression. One is called Tselem, which is Gilui Atzmi, that the full three-dimensional essence of the object is expressed. Mashenk and Dmus is just image. When you get in your name, that's all. You also want to bring out what Kelim that Tzilus is the Lush of Neir Base. So that's why Kelim that Tzilus is Shem Tselem. The Meshemei Al Yodom Gilei. See, broaden the language of Tselem and Dmus just to strengthen the point that Kelim that Tzilus, they're not. The way they express the early key, the is no way of Gilei, not like the Mus. That's number one. Okay, so, but it brings in now another language, different language. Zefesh ben Zo Malchus. These two madrigas are Vayelikim. Earth and Cain was also Zo and Malchus. And also show the more so that he just says Zo Malchus and he goes on, but in close Samaima, you see that Vayelikim, like he said right in the beginning. He spoke about Shemesh Shavasir. Over there, I didn't use the language of Vayelikim. But Cholef and the Ganyanenu, so the Zohar Malchus are also these two general ways of within the spheres Gufa. Zohar is more the Tselem type, similar to Tselem, and Malchus is Dmus. But then he brings another expression which is more elaborate. It's more everything is Paklara Meir, Paklara Sheina Meir. So, like I mentioned the first time I learned this concept, that this is one of these terms of Chassidus that their physical meaning is still being debated. Because sometimes, like later in this mind, you'll say, a muscle that's a mirror. But the mirror, in other words, the mirror doesn't fit in the equation here so much. So at first we'll say, we'll say that as Meir means, like we say in the Ma'am of the Bar Mitzvah, Vergrößerung means like a telescope, you can see things better through the telescope. And She'eina Meir means it's a regular glass. That can be one way to interpret it. Like again, there's we look in the sources. It's a lesson in Gemara. Even in the Shat in Gemara, there's more than one pirush what exactly it means. See this like I said later, we'll see that that's a mirror. He compares it to a mirror. That's for sure not in the. We can also the mirror concept. We can also explain a little bit, because the truth is, if you know that, remember when we look at the sun, the real telescope, how does the real telescope works? You know, it really works with mirrors. They're just confusing again. All these details, what it means in physical terms, it just models that confuses the concept we want to bring out. So we have to just consider the general idea. Spaklaya means a tool of vision that through which you can see the essence of the thing itself that you're looking at. She'eina means a tool to which we see not the full thing. Like I would call it in our own personal experience, the best thing is sunglasses. That's a She'eina. It's a type of tool to which you diminish what you see. You don't see the thing itself. But okay, going back, I just put in the general. You'll talk about it a little later. Going back to what he says, that's why. The first is a way, is a tool of vision, a tool of seeing, to which you see the essence of the object and that you want to see. He said, Gemara, again, he starts, first he tells us this, but then he brings the sources, like I said, it's a source of Chazal. This is Gemara, Pasuk, Be'eres Adna. So Shaya Novi says in the beginning of the Shai, so Be'eres Adna, I saw, Eivers the Yesh al Kisarav Niso, upon Shulav Levis Eichel, Veshmacher, Telash Godel, Bakwa the Shem against the pot. So Shai Novi describes that he had a vision, but oh my Lord. So I don't know who said, but somebody told Shai Novi, after Moshe Rabbeinu, as it passed, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't see the Ksiv, Le'an Yodam V'choy, in Pasuk Kisiso, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Areinu, it's quite there, and the Eivus says, Le'an Yodam V'choy. It's impossible to see. How can you say I saw? How can you say you saw? Moshe Rabbeinu says he cannot see. So what? So the Gemara answers, Meshane, if the Gemara answers, Kan Basachar Meir, Kan Basachar Meir. When Moshe Rabbeinu said we cannot see, he's talking about Basachar Meir, which means such a vision when we see the essence of godliness. Kan Basachar Meir. Mashenka the Shaya Novi says he was talking about Shayna Meir. He didn't see the essence. He saw through a intermediary tool that diminished the vision. So that is possible. That's the Gemara. Going back to our discussion, that's so we see from this Gemara that's near Gilem. That's right. You see the essence. Kamoi, another marshal, Kisharoi is a dova, the schok is beir. I near etzemos a dova. You see something through a clear glass, not just clear, shining glass. That's spaklaya meir means shining, meir. So clear, shining glass. I near etzemos a dova. Kamoi Kisharoi, it's arbesh, near etzemos. Now he brings in another point. Like, why do we need the glass altogether? Just see the thing itself. So we do need a tool, but the tool certainly is as I did. So here we can bring in the opposite. Like I said, in order to see real, to see good, you need a special tool. Well, the other near I mean, almost sounds self-contradictory, but in order to see this light of the sun, we need some kind of tool in the middle. And I think that's not a good marshal here, because the reason you can see the sun, that tool diminishes. Here he says there's some kind of tool that makes it see better. So we can say the opposite. I'm thinking, again, it's not really so negate the Gashmis, the understanding of the way all these tools operate. It's the message that we get out that the two types of tools. One tool, that this type of tool, which is called a spakara, that gives us the ability to see the essence. But if it's time to reason, you can say, the microscope. If you want to look at some tiny things and you want to see, like actually. Like I said earlier, in the minor bar mitzvah, the common translation of vergrößern glass, magnifying glass. You want to see well. If you have something small, you want to see very well. You have a magnifying glass. So that's to that. Without the magnifying glass, you can't see anything. But the magnifying glass shows you the things. So that is a marshal of the Okay, so we finish with that marshal. So what all this is a marshal to explain what is the concept, what is the idea of the keli. It's a tool. It's not the Ershabim is gala. We need keli. We need a tool that allows us to see it, allows the gilu. But by the tool, the tool you capture the essence, the iratzen, the husador. What is this thing which we just call the Spaklaya Meir? What does it mean in Avodas Hashem? In Levushim, the mitzvahs and nasim, shenasim levush masagas and shamas v'ganei. Remember, even in Tani Perik Dalet talks about it. That one of the functions, Kabbalah, in Kabbalah, one of the maybe qualities. One of the qualities of mitzvahs is mitzvahs. One of the reasons why we need mitzvahs to go to Gan Eden is because mitzvahs have that quality. They allow us to be able to experience Gan Eden. They allow the neshamas to experience Gan Eden. It's not a levushim lasagas neshamas Gan Eden. Shagan Eden, neshamas Gan Eden, yeshem and the enemy is Eva. What happens in Gan Eden? Neshama is an enemy, Ziva Shechina. He's going to go into a long arichas to explain what is Ziva Shechina in Gan Eden. But in the meantime, the point is that in order to get this Ziva Shechina, which he's going to explain in a second, in Gan Eden, we need levush. We need some kind of garments to be able to get it. That is the Mashal Spaklaya Meir. It's a type of levush. It's a type of levush, it's a type of garment that allows us to experience the Gilui of Gan Eden, which is going to explain. This is the Gilui of the heart. What is Gan Eden? Shema Gan Eden Meir Gilui Amehut in Gilui Atzilus. Gan Eden is that place, that experience of Gilui Amehut. Ziva Shechina means. And now, in this context, it means Gilui Hamahus. I mean, earlier in type of page, Yutes, he said that Ziv is lower level. But here he said that Ziva Shechina means Gilui Hamahus. The Mele, what's Mahus? Mahus means Mahus Alikus. In Gan Eden, the Neshamas experience the revelation, the feeling, the perception, Mahus Alikus, the essence of godliness, which is really Gilei Atzilus. Gilei Feilam Atzilus. Agam, Shabgan Eden, Abgadiyah, Gan Eden itself is talking, Bailam Ziyah. Gan Eden Atachna Ba'asir, Gan Eden Elim B'Priyah. That's what he says here. I think in other, not if I remember correctly, in other places it says Gan Eden Atachna. So there are two general levels in Gan Eden. The Atachna and Elyon. One is the lower world, the Sia. One is the upper world, the Bria. Gan Eden Elyon Bria. Mikol Kam Yadua, even though the Gan Eden itself is in the lower world, the Bria. Sia Mikol Kam Yadua. Shem Gan Eden Meir Gilei Atzilus. What is experienced in Gan Eden? Gilei Atzilus. Atzilus who punis most the likus. Atzilus the most the likus. Kuyadua. What is the proof that Natzilus? What is the source that Natzilus is the Gilei of Mohus? I'm sorry, that in Gan Eden is the Gilei of Mohus Alikus. Kuyadua. This says in other places in Kabbalah the Lashon. The Gan Eden mefnes Gimel Sheni Sheni Knesses Lapsus. So again, it's another terminology that's common in Kabbalah. We learned that all the spheres usually are divided into two parts. Gimel Sheni is Zayin Tachtonis. The top three shall usually the Meichin, Chabad, Zayin Tachtonis, and the Midas. And the Gan Eden Meir Gimel Sheni Knesses Lapsus. Again, so the Gimel Sheni was Zayin Tachtonis are usually the difference is that in Gimel Sheni is more the Mahus, and Zayin Tachtenis is only a like the difference from Meich and the Midas to the Maya, to the intellect. We perceive the objective reality of the object that our mind is relating to. In the Midas, that's already subjective. So it's more low. Male, that's a muscle again. So again, Gimel Sheni Zayin Tachtenis. When we talk about any oilam, Gimel Sheni represents the essence, the real thing, and the Zayin Tachtonis is only the external, the sanius. So he says here that Zayin Tachtonis is my Knesses Lapsus. Like I said, the Zayin Tachtonis, the law of seven spheres, they're my Knesses Lapsus. They're invested in the Makabel that's already subject. Gimel Sheni is ein Knesses Lapsus, Knesses Gilei Amos. So it's okay. That's time. I said stop. It means that first he said in Gan Eden is Meir Gilei Atzilus. Then he says Gimel Rishenes in Atzilus Gufo. What aspect of Atzilus is Misgal Gimel Rishenes first, which is Gilei Amos of Halikus. So all this is explaining the Inyan of the Hadid Mitzvahs.
Sorry, is it fair to say the Zayin Tachtenis are the expression of the thing?
Yeah, relative, within a context, yeah. Zayin Tachtonis versus Gimel Rishenes. Every like in other words, according to the Chassidus understanding, every part of our reality has 10 spheres within it. Gimel Rishenes is the essence, and the Zayin Tachtonis is the external. Relatively speaking, you can use that one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All this was to explain that the levushim of the mitzvahs are similar, the kalim to be makabel the ziv hashchina, which is the gilim musa lekusing hanei. Now he brings in another. Now he takes it a step higher. Not only is in Gan Eden Meir, the Gimel Rishein, the Atzilus, not the Atzilus, Gimel Rishein is of Atzilus, most of the Likus, even there's even a higher level of Gilei Likus that shines in Gan Eden, which is a Seviv Kalam. Seviv Kalam usually means Madriga, which is even higher the sphere of the Chlal. A Seviv, it surrounds, it doesn't enter, it's not internalized. So surrounds us, which means the earth, which is even above the sphere. It brings in the next few lines, it spends to prove that in the Gan Eden is Gila Sefer. What's the Raya? Geen Balias and Sham Gan Eden Tach Gan Eden. Find it says in Chazal and Kabbalah that the Neshama ascends from Gan Eden Tach Gan Eden goes up. So before it does it, has to be table, has to dunk itself into Nardino, which Nardino means the river of fire. So the concept of Nardino is mentioned, and then it's in Tanakh, in Daniel, Nardino, the river of fire. Was meant this? Was meant Tvila Benardino? What is the, again, it's all mashalim, it's all visual or images to give us a conceptual understanding what's happening. So what's not, when you say now, it's not the fire we know. Fire means something that consumes us. When someone, just not normal things. If someone is terrible in a river of fire, what happens? It disintegrates, it disappears, it's bottled. So basically, Tvila now they know another way of saying the bottle. And the shaman, in order to reach from Ganei Tachton, the alien has to be bottled, has to lose its identity, lose its ego, lose itself. That's what Tefillah Nadino means. Why? By the Tefillah. Because the higher level, Ganei is such a labor to the Ganei Tachton, that in order to the neshama to be able to experience that state of Gila Likus, the time of the Shmag, the light that in Gan Eden Elyon, has to lose any connection to anything Gan Eden Atach. So that the act of losing it, of annulling it, being mevatlet, that's what we call Tefillah and Adino. It's stable, it dunks itself into a fiery river, which means it burns down, it burns, it eliminates, loses the entire anything that he had before. So they bring in another marshal. It's all things are marshal. It's a marshal, another marshal, famous marshal, cities always brings. Meir Abzera, famous Meir Abzera. First, he lived in Bavel. He lived in Bavel. He learned Bavel. Oh, Eretz Yisrael, says the Gemara, that when you moved up, you made an aliyah from Bavel. So it's all some Meir Tanis, he fasted 100 Tanesim, so he should forget everything he learned in Bavel. If I remember correctly, there's a few. What does fasting mean? So there's a few ways. One is that it's almost like he fasted in order to. So it's like a prayer. He asked the Abish to make him forget it. Then there's another more physical shot that Pasha he bettered his body so much, Pasha forgot. And when you don't eat for so much, you forget. Maybe I'm not sure, but it's probably both are true. Why did he have to do it? So because he's moving up now from Bavel to Yisrael, from Babel to Yerushalmi, and the experience of learning Torah in Yisrael is shaloi be'er to the experience of learning Torah in Bavel. It's a higher level of learning. Like a person is moving from one class of understanding to a totally different class. Shaloi be'er. In order for him to be able to be a keli, to be able to learn Torah such as soul, Talmud Yerushalmi, you have to forget Bavli, because otherwise the Bavli interfere the way of thinking, the way the people think, the way the learning mode in Bavli is so shalei be'erach lower than the Yerushalmi, than Torah such as soul, that he has to forget that way. Otherwise, it's going to interfere. So that's used considered as a marshal to the concept of the tefillah of Na'ardino, of the neshama from Ganei Atach to Ganei Na'el. Again, so this story of Abdei just brings about as an example. What can we? I mean, we learned it a few times. I was our time give it a marshal in the reality we can relate to. Person wants to learn. I think the closest we can. I mean, one marshal maybe I think of is like a language. A person wants to learn a new language, but he wants to speak the new language in a way that is extremely natural to him, as if this is his mother tongue. In order to do that, he must forget his old one, because Kozman, he still remembers the old language, even though he speaks in the new language. The old language interferes. You know, sometimes we see a person, because he was born, his mother tongue is one language, so even when he speaks the new language, in his mind it translates the old into the new. So it comes out as a translation. It's not, it's not natural. In order to really acquire, I'm not saying it has to be done, it should be done. I'm just trying to understand, to give it an example. You know, if someone wants really to learn the new language in a way that he is like what do you call it, or he's a native, he speaks it as a native, so he has to forget the old one. Again, I'm not saying that it should be done, I'm saying it is even done, but we can understand the concept that in order to really become part of the new language, the old language has to disappear.
Could he come back later and remember it? Like
yeah. Okay. Like I said, all these things are just a mush. It does. I don't even think it happens in real life. What I just said. Just trying to give it a little, because the spark of Shaloi Be'eret, we don't really have a good way to relate to it. Maybe the closest we can understand it is maybe that what I just said in martial languages. Stop. Moving me. This entire dosha this entire discussion is just to bring out the one point. Moving me. This entire story, first of all, the Nardino and Abzer is only but to bring out one point, because he started saying, so the fact that in order to move up from one level and then to the other, we have to totally eliminate the old one, that shows that the Gilling and is from Erasayim, which was above Gilling. Why? Shemad Be'eger. Moving is the Shemad Be'eger, Ein Arech Zelazer. Ein Arech is a concept of saving. Shemad Be'eger, Shem Be'er Zelazer, Erasayim, Shemad Be'eger, Tachtein, Meir Lamadegel. If the Gan Eden would be part, if the Gil of Gan Eden would be part of the regular normal system of order and gradually, then that's the opposite. He says, don't forget, in order for you to learn math of 8th grade, you have to remember what you learned in 7th grade, because what you learned in 8th grade is based on 7th grade. So it's the opposite. In order for you to understand the Gemara well, you have to know, you have to know the Mishnah. In other words, the normal process of learning is the opposite. You don't forget. In the normal process, the step one is something brings you to step two, and while you're doing step two, to remember step one. It's part of the understanding step two. So this the bottom part is part of the move to the upper. So in that way, you don't forget. You shouldn't forget what you learned. You should remember. Only in the world of Seven, which is Shalei Be'er, there we have it. So we made it since in Gan Eden, we have to be Tefillah. That is proof that the Gan Eden is Gilei Hashem. Okay, we'll revisit it tomorrow.
Yeah.